Hey guys, no new build today, but since I'm gonna be playing my Scourge Arrow for the league, at least start, right? And there's been quite a few of you guys who have shown interest in the build, so I figured might as well create a POB that's sort of a little bit more fleshed out for the end game. And well, nothing really changed much. I got rid of the suppression cluster. I mean, the reserve cluster over here, and I added a natural instinct over here and allocated this node, but this node you don't really need because we have 43 unreserved mana times 5, that's 40, so you're going to be able to shoot once, and after you release, you're just going to leech the mana back through instant leech without any issues. But it might be a little bit troublesome against bosses, like there's going to be a little bit of a downtime, but should be fine, I would think. So other than that, there's really nothing that changed. I did add a belt, Oxium, but before getting the fledgling, you can just, before you get the fledgling with +1 power charges, which is probably going to be pretty expensive, or maybe not. Not too many people are going to be playing both this league. I don't know. Once you get that, Oxium is quite a bit of damage. 30 increase elemental per power charge. So we have 5 total, that's 150, right? It's pretty good. And other than that, nothing really changed. I did remove the crit quality from Marilyn because I got rid of this, of calculated risk. Late game, this is a damage loss, as you can see, once you have enough crit. Only use this until you have like 70 or 80 crit. After that, it's pretty much a damage loss. Well, maybe with 78 it's about the same, but if you have something like 95, then it's, as you can see, a pretty big damage loss. Instead, just allocate this. It doesn't really do much, but sometimes you're going to take a little bit less damage, so maybe it'll help while mapping a little bit. If you ever take damage, because this thing is going to clear screens. But anyway, you can just use these or get some movement speed over here if you want. Also an option. Movement and like projectile speed if you want. But yeah, of course you can always use Mageblood. Damage wise not that much better, but of course that Mageblood is very nice quality of life, right? You got a lot of movement speed, so always an option. But for a cheaper version, damage focused version, just get this. But the resists are pretty rough, so you will have to get the 15 resists on the belt. As you can see, I'm not chaos capped because I'm using quite a few uniques, so not much room for resists. And I also am lacking 2 intelligence. Alternatively, you can just lower the level of all the spore gems by 1 and you're gonna be good, right? And yeah, that's about it. I of course capped out the numbers on the bow and the quiver, well, on every single item, right? So that's why the DPS is insane. But this is not very realistic to get, but in case if you want to, this is something that you can strive for. Attack speed doesn't do much. It's just quality of life. You can also, instead of the attack speed quality, you can just use crit chance quality. It'll help a little bit because it's very likely that your crit chance suffix is not going to be like literally max roll, so you could add a little bit that way. But attack speed is nice because we need to stand in place for about 0.66 seconds to get the 5 stages, right? So a little bit more attack speed is also nice. Quiver, I changed it to primal quiver. It ends up being just a tiny bit better than broadhead later on. But broadhead is also perfectly fine if you want to use it, right? And one thing to note is that we are sort of reaching the cap on everything except sap. Although in here, well, even if I set everything to 0, in here the pinnacle is 23, but as I've stated, this does not work in POB. And since we are only inflicting ailments from crits, that's the only way we're getting them. So 23 times 1.5 is 31.5, so that's the cap. So we are capping these out with our first hit, assuming, you know, the first hit is our Scourge Arrow, not the Thorns. Thorns deal half the damage, so you're not gonna cap out the ailments with Thorns. And as I've said, this build technically has times 7 damage if all the stars line, because you can hit once with the main projectile, then it returns, and since we're Saboteur, the return is full damage. So twice from the main projectile, and then 5 Thorn Arrows forwards and backwards, so that's 10 hits, but they deal 50% of the damage, so that's 5 times the damage, plus the 2 from the main hit. Technically, you know, it's 7 times the damage. This 5% more damage is because Scourge Arrow in here is 62 damage effectiveness, but it's gonna be 65 at max level, so that's 5% more damage. Also, you can get +1 more level from high race if you're lucky enough to corrupt it into that. One thing that I didn't think about is that while leveling, you probably wanna get like swap the elemental penetration to green gem. Like literally anything is gonna be fine. Hypothermia should probably be fine. Mirage Archer for quality of life, right? But technically Mirage Archer is gonna be worse. For clear. For single target, it's gonna be about the same. Faster attacks, if you want, you know. Volatility, I don't recommend initially, because we're gonna have unlucky damage with hits anyway, so don't take volatility for sure. Added cold damage, you know, just choose one of the green gems, right? Because when you corrupt Hyray, you can just spam tainted chromatics and you can get off colors very easily, so it's not a big deal. But before that, you know, consider one more green gem. At least one more green gem. Ideally 2 even, because it's going to be a little bit hard. Or just corrupt it and spam taint things, you know. But this is like very late game, so it shouldn't really be an issue. But yeah, other than that, you know, that's it. Nothing really changed. Added a natural instinct over here because it's a lot of damage. These 3 notes aren't too bad either if you don't want to pay anything. 16.3, 16.8. Medium cluster, I guess, could work as well. Should be about the same damage wise with the double damage crit node, right? But yep, that's it. Nothing else for today. And tomorrow, after that, we're going to be blasting. And if any of you guys try this build out, drop a comment, see how it works. And yeah, I'll talk to you at some point mid-league probably when I have an update to showcase, in case if any of you are wondering how this plays out. Yep, that is it. Talk to you boys later. Bye bye.